out of this world. People were going, my goodness, where did this guy come from? Nobody expected that. I certainly didn't. I was way off on him. And then, you start looking at the game logs as the season went on, second half, and then through this year, you're kind of going, he's kind of, I don't know if it was fair. And we talked about this before, Dave. Like, I think it was fair to expect him to be the guy who's completing 70% of his passes, and he made very few mistakes. I mean, he was on a different level for that first half of the season.
Yeah.
It seemed reasonable to expect, all right, he's gonna regress a little bit. That's not a fair standard. And he has. He's regressed a bit. And you look at where he ranks right now this season, he's 22nd in the league. He's got 5 touchdowns. He's got 3 picks. He's 21st. He's thrown about 234 yards a game, 13th in the league. He's got a 7.1 yard per completion average, 14th in the league. He's just kind of middling right now, or below middling in a lot of categories. So is it, and I said in the notes last night, I feel like this sort of justifies the questions that we were asking. There were people that were getting mad that we were like, all right, is Geno the guy? Can he repeat what he did last year? And people were, why are you hating on? Nobody was hating. It was like, hey, man, that was out of nowhere. I think it's fair to wonder, okay, is that who he is moving forward? So I think what we're seeing now sort of, I'm not saying he's terrible by any stretch, but I think what he's done or hasn't done to this point sort of justifies saying, all right, it was fair to ask the question, can he be that guy week in, week out, and that's who he is moving forward?
Yeah, it's totally fair, first of all. And, yeah, and it really started, I mean, he started off just fantastic, right? Last year, his first 9 games, they were 6-3. He was 73% completion percentage, 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He only had 5 turnovers that he gave up, both fumbles and interceptions. And then in the next 8, he went 3-5, 66%, and he had 10 turnovers. So I mean, that part of it was, and this is where I would say, if you go back and look at like where was Russ, what kind of completion percentage and everything when they were really rolling offensively with the run game, and that's last year. I think what this, the other thing about the second half of last year was that, he threw it a lot more. He threw it 6 times more per game because there was lots of times where they just couldn't run the ball. Remember the Ram game? And they were down to all their running backs were hurt, and so it really, he had to take that game over in order to win, right?
Yeah,
he threw the touchdown to DK Metcalf, so to win that game. So I mean, I think that, is he a guy that you can rely on, you can lean on? Like, I would say sometimes, but is he Joe Burrow? Is he Patrick Mahomes? Right now, I mean, that's a tall order, right? But yeah, I think it's fair to say, well, maybe not, maybe he's not, but neither is Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, I mean, he relies on a really good run game and a lot of really good pieces and everything. So,
and what they ask him to do.
Right. Yeah, he does exactly what he's supposed to do in that offense. And I think, it's fair both ways. I mean, if you want to say, hey, look, I think Geno's been amazing. He takes care of the ball. His accuracy has been really good. But, when it comes down to, okay, you can't run the ball, you make these trips inside the red zone, you're getting, sacked and lots of pass rush. It's really good coverage. He kind of struggled the other day. So it's, I think it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, especially if they get the run game to the point where, okay, we can really lean on this. I think they're number 20 running the ball right now. They have just over 100 yards, 104 yards a game. So, if they can, I think for Geno, and that's where I always look at when you look at a quarterback, like what kind of run game does he have? Because if it's a really good run game, like the San Francisco 49ers, you can be one of those guys that, hey, he's good. I'm not saying he's a game manager, but he's not Patrick Mahomes.
Well, you're not putting it all on his shoulders.
Right.
Like if he doesn't carry us to victory, we're lost. I mean, yeah, to have a run game is huge for any quarterback. Doesn't matter if you're talking about Tom Brady or anybody else. I mean, that's a nice luxury to have. So I guess my question for Seahawks fans is just where their level of faith is right now. Like, not is he good? I think he's a good quarterback. Geno's a good quarterback. But do you look at him and say, that's a guy who can win a Super Bowl? That is a quarterback who wins a Super Bowl for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
I'm curious how people view him, because I don't think he's polarizing, but you see, like anything, you see people on both sides of the debate. Oh, he's great. It's this guy's problem, or it's the offensive line, or it's the play calling. Or you'll see the other side. Oh, he's a backup right now, and he's just holding the spot. You know, you got people on both sides. But I'm just curious to get a sense of where people are with Geno right now. Do you look at him and say, that's a Super Bowl quarterback? That's the guy who's going to get us there, take us to the promised land and win?
Yeah, and that's pretty much the case with every quarterback, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to ask the questions right now. I'm not in panic mode or anything like that. The other thing I would throw in, if you want to talk about excuses, I think maybe the offensive line at this point it's starting to. I said it yesterday. We used to say this all the time on the show. The chickens are coming home to roost.
Yeah,
the offensive line is, Jake Curran especially being hobbled a little bit, and then also same thing with Phil Haynes. He got hurt a little bit, and now, we were bragging there for a while, like, hey, look at us. Our offensive line doesn't matter. We can plug this guy in, that guy in, and then, you have a game like that, and you go, okay, maybe it's concerning. So I get that. I'm more on the side of, look, that was a really good team, and they play really good pass defense. So they had 6 picks going into that game, ended up with 8. So, I think, but I'm still I think it's fair to question where Geno is at right now.